Mike, were there a lot of people running this kind of offense back in '99?
No, Kentucky.
And that was it?
Yeah, like I said, Hal Mummy, I couldn't get him to come with me, so I figured I might as well try the guy that's been with them the longest and try and do the same things here. And again, there wasn't anyone else that I had seen that was like that, and I felt it would be different here as well, that it would give us an advantage maybe that people weren't familiar with it.
Is there any advantage to having played in a whole lot of big games? People talk about one team wanting it more and Tech will want it more, but controlling emotions is pretty important.
Yeah, they can't want it any more than we want it. So in the end, we've been in them. They've been in big games too. So in the end, you've got to go play for it. And so I don't see that as much of a difference.
How is Harold different than the other quarterbacks he's had? Or is he different?
Well, Mike's had a lot of great quarterbacks. You know who they all are. Probably someone brought it up yesterday when we were talking after practice, just the fact that he's been there now for so many years, all the experience. You almost feel like he can go back blindfolded and know where all his guys are. He just, having done it so much. I would just say just the overall experience on the field.
Will Sam's just been in this. I guess he's been in the system for 3 years. He's played for 2. Could you say the same thing about him? Play with a blindfold.
I'm sorry.
I mean, literally. But is Sam so familiar? Does he know where his guys are exactly the same way?
Yes, but we vary and change up. Some of what we're doing each week, and a little bit different style in how we maybe attack a defense. So that's where it's a little bit different. But of course, we feel incredibly comfortable with how Sam plays and his efficiency and his accuracy, all of that.
Coach, have you been impressed at all with how their ability to run the ball much more this year than they have in years past?
Sure, but I've always respected their run game maybe more than it's talked about. I always talk about they will always hurt you running the football if you allow them to. So. And even when you don't allow them to. So you've really got to be aware of it. We are, and I do, from watching it, we've got great respect for it. Their backs do an excellent job, and again, they're a physical offensive line that works really well together.
Coach, how does he keep coming up with these quarterbacks? Is there something unique that he looks for, like when he got?
Sure, I'm sure, Mike. I loved his answers. People want to say it's because of the system, and he said, "Well, why waste all that time recruiting? I'll just go to the 7-Eleven and get the guy behind the counter to do it." And that's not the case. These guys are all accurate throwers. They got good releases, quick releases. They process. They see the space they want to throw it in, and they're all good at throwing through lanes, getting their windows to throw the football in. Good footwork back there. There's a lot of that. So, they're good quarterbacks regardless of whose system they would have been in, I believe.
He didn't go to 7-Eleven, but he pulled a kicker out of the stands.
Yeah, that's right.
Something you'd ever think about entertaining if you had some kicking problems continue, or if you had his issues?
Yeah, we're a little far down the road for that right now, for me to trust somebody that I just saw this week. So,
Bob, there's more media attention apparently with this game than almost any here and maybe ever because the media is bigger. Do you protect your players any differently, or are they exposed to it more, or do you have the same time demands that they've always had?
Yeah, we just have the same schedule we have. Defense was yesterday after practice. Offense is today after practice. Have a couple guys here for the luncheon, and that's it. So we just have our normal routine, and then that's it. So.
What about for the coaches? For you, is it
nonstop? It's just however many radio requests I want to answer. So. Which aren't many. So.
Are you doing Al this week?
Yeah, if Al asks, I do Al, and James too. Those guys are all pretty standard routine. But anyway, no, I don't plan on doing any more than I did a week ago or what we usually do.
Why do you think you run the ball better now than you were earlier in the year?
Usually again it's overall execution. And, execution, timing, how defenses may be presenting, how they're trying to stop you. I think all of that goes together.
Which of these two defenses are better?
Again, that's something that, depending on what you're looking for, you can go through all the statistics or whatever you want and decide for yourself. But in the end, I think they're both pretty good.
That's sort of a strange question to ask OU Tech week. I don't know if that's ever been asked.
Yeah,
Tech
but
week.
not really. It is a fair question, and again, they're doing an excellent job, and played us well a year ago, and I think again, for the most part, we've played them well, probably better than anyone else has. So, regardless, though, all that matters is what you do this week.
Coach, so much on the line on this game, but it's also senior night, and you have a group playing their last game on Owen Field that's been a part of multiple conference championships.
Yeah, they're great guys. You're almost, with the game and its implications, you don't want to forget those guys, and we don't. But in the end, we still got another game after this week and more to come. So in the end, it's you appreciate those guys. They've been a great group of seniors and great attitude guys, and I really thought this year they stepped up, early on in the year and really have shown a lot of leadership through the year, maybe more so than some of the seniors we've had, which you appreciate as a coach, for them to take control of the team and what they expect.
Have you cautioned Sam not to practice his tackling skills in this game?
We were commenting on a play last night, watching some tape with the offensive coaches there, and they were talking about Sam doing something here or there, and I said, what about just get out of the way and watch it, so hopefully we won't need him for anything.
Bob, all good teams improve as the year goes along. How much better do you think you are now versus when you played Texas?
Well, how do you determine that? I think that'll be determined on how we play this week. I think that's the bottom line is there's no discussion today. There's a lot of discussion, after Saturday. If we're able to win, then you know what the discussions are, and if we're not and Tech's able to win, then surely there's no argument there either. So in the end, there's an awful lot to discuss, after that game, and but then we have another one with Oklahoma State. So, but if what the logical or arguments are if we're able to win. What's logical for one team ought to be logical for the other, and if we're able to beat them, then we're either able to be ranked above Texas or you can't rank Texas ahead of Texas Tech either. Then you got to keep Texas Tech in front, so again, what's reasonable or logical for one team ought to be for the other, so in the end, there's not an argument until we're able to play and see what we're able to do Saturday.
What's more important in that respect? Is it more important to be impressed by a team, how they're playing at the end of the season?
Well, that's what seems to be most people's, when you hear people talking about a certain team. For instance, again, I think Florida, it looks really good from what I've been able to see, but to lose at home to an unranked team, but everyone says, well, look how they're playing now, which, so that seems to be, a reasonable argument. But in the end, if it's reasonable or logical for one team, it ought to be for the other teams as well. You can't have one argument for a certain team and not for the other.